Hi everybody, it's Marcy, and I'm ready to start my Christmas making. So, the first thing I want to make is a waterfall album. And I actually watched Lyric Lover Crafts on YouTube, and they did something similar for their fall craft fair series, but I modified it to make it more what I wanted. So I've made two, and I'll quickly show you one of them. So it's just this little waterfall album with mats on it for photographs. And I think this is so cute, and it goes together quickly and easily. The longest part is cutting all the papers, but then once you've got the papers cut, everything else goes together super easy. So I'm going to tell you how I did this and give you the list of all my everything I'm using. So I've got a piece of cardstock. I'm using 110-pound cardstock that I got from Michael's, and it needs to be 7.5 inches wide by 8 3/4 inches wide. 7.5 inches tall by 8 3/4 inches wide. Then I have a piece of 110-pound cardstock that is 7 1/4 high by 4 inches wide. And that's all the 110-pound cardstock I'm using. Then I've got some regular 65-pound cardstock, just plain, not printed. 7 cut at 4 inches wide by 4.5 inches tall. Then I start moving into my scrapbook paper, and I've got 2 that will become my front and back outside covers, and they are both cut to 4 inches wide by 7 1/4 inches tall. And I've got one that will be my inside front cover, cut to 4 inches wide by 7 1/4 inches tall. Then I've got 15 pieces of scrapbook paper that are cut to 3 3/4 wide by 3 3/4 tall, so squares. And then I've got 7 strips that are 3 3/4 inches wide by 3/8 of an inch tall. And then I've got some ribbon and, of course, anything you want to embellish your cover. So the first thing I'm going to do is now you will notice, let me back up for a second. I went ahead on my items. I like rounded corners. So on my cover, I rounded the corners, which means on the inside, I will need my corners rounded. And I've gone ahead and done that. You don't have to do it. The rounding of the corners, I just prefer so that you don't end up with bent corners and stuff like that. But entirely your choice. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is pull out my scoreboard. And I'm first going to score the cover. And I've got to look at my notes. Where did they go? Okay. I'm going to score my cover at 4¼ inches. Four and 3/8. And 4½. And what that does is that gives me 4¼ inch wide front covers and back cover with a 1/4 inch spine. Now for the spine, I'm not really going to crease it. I just want to gently kind of roll my spine. I don't need deep creases on it. Okay, and then that is ready to be set aside. Then, excuse me, I'm going to take my 4-inch wide by 4½ inch tall blank cardstock, and I'm going to score each one of those. Now, what I like to do, like I said, my corners are already rounded, so I know that's going to be the bottom. I'm going to score at 4 inches. I'm making a 1/2 inch hinge. I prefer, you can turn it this way and score at 1/2 inch. The reason I prefer doing it this way is A, it's easier for me to get to the 4 inch than it is to get to the 1/2 inch. B, if you're anything like me, even though I used a paper cutter, my cuts are not going to be exact. Where that 4-inch line is going to stay the same. So you want to do that to each of your 7 plain cardstock pieces. Okay, and I've already done the others. So now I believe I am done with my scoreboard. So then on each of your mats, you can go ahead and crease those down. And actually, I'll be pulling my scoreboard back out in just a minute. Okay. Now you're going to take your 4-inch by 7¼ inch, 110-pound plain cardstock, and very simply, I'm using glue. You can use tape, use whatever you prefer. The art glitter glue dries quickly, and I actually find it to be quicker and less fiddly than trying to use tape, and my ATG gun and I don't really get along. Okay, so your first one you're going to want at the very top. You want to get it as straight as possible, equal, matching your top and sides the very best you can. And go ahead and burnish that down. Now for me, because I've rounded my corners, this corner is now not rounded. And this corner will be on the outside cover, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in my corner chomper and chomp that corner. Okay, now Here's where I discovered this while I was making the other two. If I pull my scoreboard back out, and I know it's sitting upside down, but that's okay. And I place this right on the edge. I'm going to grab my next one. Because you want these to all line up, I found that using the scoreboard makes it much easier. And you're going to want the top of this to meet up to the bottom of this one. And if I have everything pushed up against the side, when I put it down, then all I have to worry about, is being sure I match at the top and bottom. I'm sorry, being sure that I match my line. Everything else should line up. That looks good. And of course, I always double check it. I wonder, maybe I did this. Yeah, that's the way I did it yesterday. That's much better. Okay. And you're going to do this with all 7 of your black mats. And I'm not going to have you, I will speed this up so that you don't have to sit here and watch me. Okay, so I've got all my mats glued down, or all my waterfall pages glued down. And now I'm ready to start adding my mats. And the mats are cut 1/4 of an inch smaller than the waterfall pages. So you'll have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around your, I can't think of what I'm trying to say. I'll have about 1/8 of an inch black border around all my mats. Okay. Pull this down a little bit so I can see it better. Okay, then when I flip over to my second one, I'm going to go ahead and put down the mat. I need to clean my art glitter glue tip. Okay, so I'm going to put down that mat, and I'm going to put one on the facing page. And then I'm going to take one of my little strips and I'm just going to put it right on that hinge, just as a little added something so I don't have as much black space between each mat. So it just adds a little touch. So I'm going to do that to all my pages, and then I will come right back. Okay, I got all my mats glued down. Actually, I'm glad I paused the video because I actually had to run an unexpected errand before I came back to. So I got all my mats and all my strips glued down. So now I've got 15 locations on which pictures can be put down. So the next thing I want to do is grab my cover, and first I'm going to grab my inside front cover piece and I'm going to glue it down, and it will be the same way. I'm turning it this way to make it easier for myself. It will be the same way. You don't want to get in your score lines where your spine is, but you'll have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, and just simply glue that down. Or tape or whatever you're using. These little waterfall albums, like I said, cutting the papers takes the longest, but they go together so quickly and easily. And I think this will make my third one. I think I'm going to make 5 total of these. And I'll be making little goodie bags, but I don't want to. All of the goodie bags will have some of the same items in it, is my plan right now, but they won't all have the exact same items. Okay, so that's glued down. Now I'm not going to glue in this yet, but it will go right here. The next thing I'm going to do is flip over to the outside, and I'm going to grab my ribbon. And first, I'm actually going to measure and mark. I'm going to find the center. 7 1/4, so 3 1/2, 3 5. No, it's 7 1/2. I'm sorry. So 3 1/2, 3 3/4 would be halfway. Okay. So find the center of my ribbon, and this is what I'm using is some crinkled seam binding that I got from My Crafty Cabin shop on Etsy. I love this stuff. Okay, and I'm gonna excuse me, I'm not gonna go right to the edge, but I'm just gonna bring a bead of glue all the way across, and I've got roughly the center of my seam binding marked. And this is crinkly, but I'm actually gonna stretch it out over my glue as much as I can. And it doesn't have, this does not have to be glued down super well. We will be putting paper over it, which will help hold it in place. We just need a holder for it. Okay. Now I'm ready to glue down my front and back covers. So I will, this won't take very long, but I will speed up the video. Okay, now my front and back covers are glued down, and I'm ready to glue down my mat pages. My bottle of art glitter glue, this bottle is almost gone, and I've been going through this stuff like crazy lately, and I've actually got a I buy bigger bottles, but I've been using this 2-ounce bottle as my refill bottle, but I've got one that is 4 ounces, and when this one is gone, I'll be ready to begin using my 4-ounce, especially as much as I've been doing lately. Okay. Go in and on all these seams, push down, since I can't really burnish the entire thing down. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to do on this one, first I'm going to tie it so it'll stay closed. And I've got a little cutout from this paper pad. And this paper pad, I don't think I ever said, is Craft Smart, which is Michael's. And this was a hot buy last year at Safe Freeze. That's the paper pad I'm using for this. So I just made a little mat, and it says, "Have a holly jolly Christmas." And I'm just going to put this down on the mat. And I probably should pop it up, but I don't think I'm going to on this one. And when I say pop it up, I mean use little foam tape. But I'm trying to keep these I want them to be cute, but I also want them to be very simple. I'm just gonna tilt that a little bit. And we are already done. And I think this makes a really cute little album. It's very simple. You could even put pictures here, but then you've got 15 spots with a cute waterfall album. And because I used the 110-pound cardstock, it feels nice and sturdy. I'm not concerned about it bending as photos are added to it and stuff. I mean, not only did I use 110-pound cardstock, but then I put scrapbook cardstock on 2 sides of the pages. So, but let's see, I wonder if I can bring this bow up here a little bit. Sorry, you guys don't really need to see this, I guess. Anyway, so that is my Christmas project number 1. And now I've got to see what I want to do next. So until next time, everyone, please be safe, stay healthy, happy crafting, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.